And again, as I said, that this is a difficult time that I need not tell you all. So some of you all have stood where I'm standing in the shoes that we're standing in on this morning. So I even thought that as I was trying to prepare a sermon, as difficult as it was, because in order to prepare a sermon, you have to be locked in mentally. And it's just been difficult, and I just prayed and asked God, if not a sermon, let's give me something that can help encourage myself along with the people. Amen, amen. And he led me to the book of Job. Amen. Job, the first chapter. And while this may not be a sermon, I just do hope that these scattering remarks will bless you, bless us on this morning. The book of Job, the first chapter, and I key in on verse 20. And it simply says, "Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshiped." That's enough. Now, if I would, since it's not a sermon, but for homiletical purposes, I think I need to tag this text with the topic. And the topic I would tag it with is, what is one to do? That's the question. What is one to do? I don't know about you, but I found myself asking myself this question from time to time. What is one to do? And Brother Troy, I just do believe that I'm not by myself. I believe that there are others that have asked themselves this question. When the one that you stood at the altar with several years ago vowed and pledged your love to them, and they pledged theirs to you. But all of a sudden now, they said, while I still love you, I'm no longer in love with you. Leave you asking the question, what is one to do? That family member that's suffering from that addiction, and you've done everything you know to do. You've given them countless amount of money, and just when you thought they had the monkey off their back, looked like they had gone so many weeks without partaking of the drugs. Oh, but to find out that they left in the middle of the night, and you don't know where they are. It'll leave you asking the question, what is one to do? Children, you try to raise them to the best of your ability. Look, you try to raise them to fear God and raise them to fear God and raise them in church. And now that they're grown, they act as if they haven't even heard of God because of the lifestyle that they live. It leaves you wondering and asking the question, what is one to do? When troubles, trials, tragedy, tears seem like it's coming to your house more frequent than any other house in the neighborhood or in town. Makes you ask the question, what is one to do? Well, my brothers and sisters, I just do believe that we have good company this morning with this question, but more importantly, I just do believe that we have the answer through Brother Job this morning. What is one to do? Well, before I can answer the question, what is one to do, can I share with you what Job was doing before he got to this point where he might have been asking himself the question, what is one to do? Well, I can tell you what Job was doing at the beginning of this chapter. At the beginning of chapter 1, Job was worshiping God. If you look back at verse 5, you'll find out that it said that he will offer up sacrifice I just told you that you cannot worship without giving. But Job would offer up sacrifice on behalf of his children in case they have sinned. So Job was worshiping at the beginning of this chapter, but it's easy to worship at the beginning of the chapter. Somebody said, what are you talking about? Are you speaking literally or metaphorically? I'm speaking both. It is easy to worship. If we would have been in Job's shoes, we would have worshiped at the beginning of chapter 1 also. Now I said, how do you know that, Walker? Well, it's easy to worship because Job, it said that he was a wealthy man. It's easy to worship when you have wealth falling over into your lap. Look, Job had it going on at the beginning of chapter 1. It said that he had 7,000 sheep. Easy to worship. He had 3,000 camels. Easy to worship. 500 yoke of oxen. 500 donkeys. Easy to worship. 7 sons, 3 daughters. It's easy to worship. Metaphorically, I will tell you that it's easy to worship when the sun is shining in your life. When everything is going on right in your life. When there's no tragedy at your door, it's easy to worship. You know, like I know the story of Job, how there was a conversation with God and Satan one day. And I'm not going to cut through the chase. And you know what God said to Job. Have thou considered my servant Job? Look, he's an upright man. He's one that is still evil. Have you considered him? You know how Satan was turned loose on everything around Job. God allowed it. I said in a sermon only a few weeks ago, you ought to thank God that Satan can't get to you unless God allows it. Look, you know the story of how Job began to lose everything. Job lost everything. He lost his livestock. And then Job lost his children. He lost several of his servants. The only one that was left as a surviving servant was the one that came back. Give Job some bad news. I'm done with you, but here it is. Job has lost so much. Job is sitting there. Can you see Job? Like many of us. Heart was heavy. Head bowed down. Tears in his eyes. Can you see Job with his head hanging down and heart has been broken? Look, can you see the weight on Brother Job? But here's the kicker. When that last servant came and told Job about his children, all of them had been taken away. You think it's something losing one loved one. But when you lose all of them at the same time, the record is Job, look what Job did while he got up. Job did not sit there in self-pity, but Job got up. Tells me that we're not to stay down. Regardless of how the world can push you down. How the world can beat you down. To stop by to tell you that we don't have to stay down. The record is Job got up. Job began to tear his clothes. Job shaved his head. All of those were signs of great mourning. Because he had great grief and great sorrow. I stop by to tell you there's nothing wrong with grieving. There's nothing wrong with having sorrow. There's nothing wrong with shedding tears. As a matter of fact, that's the reason God gave them to us. Then I say to you, New York, we can cry if we must. But we must not stay down. We got to get up from here. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. You're in the same boat that I'm in. They're asking a question, what he is one to do. He's all right. I stop by to give you the answer. We can do the same thing that Job did. You know what Job did? He fell down and began to worship. Somebody said, how can you worship God at a time like this? Well, Job knew a lot of things had changed in his life. His financial status had changed. His family structure had changed. His emotional status had changed. But Job looked around and saw that there was one thing that hadn't changed. He was the same God at the beginning of the chapter. I'm going to Bethel.